Good morning to all of you, and thank you for the invitation to help kick off this year's Summit on the Outdoors. This meeting occurs at a difficult and uncertain time around the country and around our state. Alaska's economy has been rocked to the core, and the tourism, guiding, and recreation sectors have not escaped the hit from the COVID-19 pandemic. But even in these tough times, maybe particularly during tough times, it's important to try to find the good. And we do have something to celebrate today. A few months ago, strong bipartisan majorities in both the Senate and the House joined together to pass the Great American Outdoors Act. I moved the two component bills, the Restore Our Parks Act and the LWCF Permanent Funding Act. I moved them through the Energy and Natural Resources Committee last year. And I was able to proudly vote in favor of this historic legislation, as did the entire delegation with Senator Sullivan and Congressman Young. This moved through in late June. This new law provides critical funding to address deferred maintenance backlogs on federal land, including at our national parks and our national forests. As chairman of the Interior Environment Appropriations Subcommittee, this is a priority that I have steadily increased funding for, providing more than $1.3 billion over the past 4 years alone. But I also recognize that more needed to be done, and that we were never going to catch up unless we thought bigger. And that's one of the main reasons that I supported this effort. The Great American Outdoors Act also provides permanent and mandatory funding for the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Now, we've seen the direct benefits of LWCF's stateside assistance in Alaska, supporting recreation infrastructure like trails and ball fields. So how Alaska utilizes this new funding will be important, as we're still kind of behind the curve in providing access to the basic infrastructure that our friends in the lower 48 often take for granted. Now, I recognize that there are a handful of issues in the Great American Outdoors Act that will need to be tweaked to better help Alaska. But I am encouraged to see the Department of the Interior and the Forest Service already working to implement this landmark measure. So this is where I could use your help, weighing in with federal agencies to ensure that projects like the Denali Park Road make it on the priority list of maintenance projects. In order to welcome visitors back to Alaska and to help our struggling tourism industry get back on its feet, we need that road to be safe and structurally sound. Throughout this pandemic, the congressional delegation has worked together to help individuals who have lost their jobs and the many, many small businesses that rely on tourism. We were able to secure a fix for seasonal businesses to qualify for the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program. We were also able to work with the Trump administration to ensure that Alaskans were hired to fill many of the hundreds of seasonal jobs needed to operate our national parks, our national forests, and our wildlife refuges. And as always, Alaskans stepped up, so I would hope that this focus on local hire can continue into the future. Groups like the Alaska Outdoor Alliance can do their part as well by helping to stretch federal dollars as far as they can go. Now, we've already seen some of the results of your advocacy as Alaska communities like Anchorage and Juneau, which spent a portion of their CARES Act funding to put unemployment Alaskans to work on restoration and on recreation projects. That was great. But there is more to be done, including by finding state matching funds for the stateside LWCF program. We're going to need to work on this. 2020 has been a hard year for everybody. I have found, though, that the best way for me to get through it is to just kind of take a deep breath and get outside, whether it's hiking or biking on the trails or even just a walk through the city. So a thank you to you for what you do as an alliance to encourage us to get outside, Alaskans to get outside while at the same time creating new jobs and economic opportunities. If there has ever been a year that made us more thankful for the great outdoors, especially in Alaska, it's been this one. So I hope that you continue to stay healthy and to stay safe. Thank you for all you do.